Alright, we're spawning into the rift. I got myself a little bit of water. I got myself a little salt, and we got ourselves a game 2. Somehow, after that impressive showing from the enemy team in game 1, they've decided to keep playing normals. They're back at it, and they've drafted a little bit less greedy of a scaling comp, not running the Kog'Maw Gangplank Kale with an Ornn jungle. Hecarim top lane, going to be able to play potentially a little bit aggressive, does have a lot of damage, but he's into the Darius, which can be a little concerning if Darius manages to stack up his passive. Looking at Lolytics, it seems like Hecarim is slightly favored in the matchup, but I would imagine that the jungle pressure is going to play a big role in terms of snowballing that. Hecarim going with the standard TP Ignite. Not going to have the flash, going to make him a little bit more susceptible to ganks. We'll see what Sejuani can do. Last game, we didn't really feel like King of Shames had, or really, I guess more so the team in general, had a unified strategy as to where they're going to play around with the triple scaling comp. There wasn't a lot of pressure put top lane, but at the same time, mid lane wasn't being assisted really, and bot lane was not setting up gank opportunities. This time around, it should be a little bit easier. They do have the Vi jungle and the Leona able to set up some kill opportunities bot lane. Is the Kai'Sa into Vayne, which is traditionally somewhat Vayne favored, as Vayne has an easier time moving in and out of stealth. Does work well into the Kai'Sa, but in a team fight, Kai'Sa can oftentimes have more impact, being able to blow people up. So this will be a very interesting matchup. Top lane is already popping off. We're seeing a lot of trading going on between the two. Hecarim is very strong, level 1, but Darius' passive is also very strong. Both looking for the kill opportunities. Darius not fully respecting the Ignite. That's a little dangerous, but he does hit level 2, did get the push off. So overall, it is going to be a one trade from Darius. Is sitting with the Door Shield. Is going to go with a very nice pickup on the pull, and is going to get the first blood. Was a good gank timing from Vi, but is not unfortunately going to matter for the Hecarim. It's going to pick up the kill though. Bot lane, we see a hook onto the Leona. Is going to result in not too much. Leona does have the aftershock. They're able to throw that out, stun the blitz. One of the things we're going to have to look at bot lane is if the Kai'Sa ever gets hooked, will Leona be able to then engage on the Vayne? I'm a little concerned. Oftentimes you'll see players potentially less experienced in the matchup, or really just often in bot lane in general. Oftentimes, when you as an AD carry get gone on by the other support, it's oftentimes better to have your support go pressure the enemy AD carry. But top lane, we see even more crazy fighting. Hecarim, yes, you do have early damage level in the game, but Darius' passive is very scary, and if you let him get all 5 stacks, you're going to have a hard time winning those trades. It does have the corrupting pot to help out somewhat, but Darius gets to get that good trade in. Going to get a back off. Vi's top lane is looking to play around top. I do kind of like that. This is a matchup that it feels like the jungle is going to matter a lot for. Looking for a pressure onto the Sejuani, looking to steal some jungle camps. Didn't probably know that she was there. Sejuani is actually just beating this Vi down. He's going to have to burn that flash. Get out of my jungle, Vi. You know what you're doing here. Darius would have been able to make it way sooner anyways. I like the general idea of what you're doing, but just boldly going for this and then trying to fight the Sejuani is a little bit much. Bot lane, we see actually the AD carries end up killing each other. Every single summoner is burned. We're going to go back and watch that. So see how that started. We see Kai'Sa going on onto the Vayne. Is going to get a lot of damage. The Blitzcrank is going to run looking for fist opportunities. What a back and forth fight. The auto coming out and the Kai'Sa Q trading, and then obviously Blitzcrank flashes out. Let's go to live if the game will let us. There we go. So AD carries are going to be resetting. Let's look at mid lane. Mid lane is a Xerath into Zed. Is getting some good poke. Obviously, once Zed hits 6, you do have to be a little bit worried about his all-in potential. Vi getting caught out by the Sejuani. Sejuani still has red buff. Vi, we know, doesn't have flash. This should be a kill for Sejuani. A very easy pickup. And is potentially going to be able to get the scuttle. Bot lane does have shove priority, so it could look into contest, but would be a little awkward. Sejuani's going to have pretty easy time getting this with the smite. Going to be able to finish that up. Top lane, just continual fighting. Darius pushing super aggressively. It does have a little bit of ward coverage, but not enough to put in a gank. Hecarim going to be going in, getting a decent trade. I don't know if I would keep trading because Darius is going to pick up that passive. You're going to get him with the Ignite, and the Triumph heal, it looks like, is going to be enough. Good job by the Hecarim, knowing his damage limitations. And with that Ignite, is able to pick that up. Bot lane is shoving relatively aggressively. Sejuani is looking for a gank potential. Blitzcrank is going to be able to come back in the lane. They do have the ward in the river, but with the speed that Sejuani can get in, we'll see how that works. Vayne is getting pretty low, not going to be able to help too much. Vi is also coming for a counter gank. That's pretty good. They are going in onto the Leona, going to be able to pick up that kill. Vi is not going to have been there quite in time. Zed is roaming down, looking for a potential tower dive. Is level 6. Kai'Sa is fairly squishy, only level 4, but don't have the vision. Vi is there. Xerath did back. Probably wouldn't have been able to be there in time, but really no reason to risk it. More trading going on top lane. Let's look at the CS real quick. Darius is slightly ahead still. They are obviously even kills. Top lane is a really volatile matchup, so we're going to be watching that a lot probably. Mid lane, Zed looks like he's having a bit of an easier time. Does pick up some magic resist with that Hex Drinker. Not going to maximize his kill potential onto the Xerath, but probably doesn't need that. Vi is looking to force a fight onto the mid lane. Misses the Q, does get a little bit of chip damage in, but without the ultimate, not too much is going to happen. From there, a little bit of a ways away from that. Darius still pushing very aggressively. This looks like an obvious gank opportunity for Vi, but I'd probably look to potentially pick up level 6 off your jungle camps. Before that, it's just going to look to force it. Darius is quite scary, does have his flash back up. Is going to just get knocked away. Is going to drop down, fails the flash, then comes in. This is actually looking pretty good for blue team. Sejuani's coming in with the ultimate, going to be able to help secure the kill onto Vi. Then we have a Xerath ult coming in to kill off red team, and Hecarim picks up the remaining kills with Xerath. Really good fight for blue team. Bot side, we see Blitzcrank aggressing onto Leona, but not too much is going to happen from that. Looks like it's just going to be a reset. So that was a good gank opportunity, spotted by the Vi. Does manage to force it. Sejuani was not quite there in time. Zed, so just coming in at a little bit too late. Darius dropping too low before he gets there, and it's a pretty good set of pickups for blue team, though relatively even. Still 6-5. Blue team's pulling a little bit ahead in gold. It's hard to say what team exactly is going to scale, as we see yet even more fighting back and forth. Who knows if anything that happened from this? Probably it shouldn't. But Vayne, obviously, if she's dueling Kai'Sa, can be quite effective. Xerath poke can also be quite effective, but you have to land it. We see Hecarim aggressing onto the Darius, going to burn that Ignite, but not going to be able to get the kill. May look for a dive opportunity. He's coming up in 5. Darius is going to start backing off. Sejuani is looking for the potential gank opportunity. Darius sticking around. Is a nice pull. Just get the heal. Is going to die. Sejuani might be able to pick up the trade kill. Does miss the Q, which is a fair amount of her damage. Does get the E stun, the W. It's actually a relatively close fight. I think Sejuani might be slightly favored, but no. Darius dead. Hecarim picking that kill up with the Q. The biggest mistake I'd say from Sejuani there was using the Q just to get in range, not using it for its damage component. Could have just walked up to Hecarim, slowed him with the W, then followed up with the Q, gotten that guaranteed free damage. Would have been probably a lot easier of a kill. Darius does TP back top lane, going to be able to continue picking up CS. Vi is hanging around, going to be able to clear out that pink ward probably. Sejuani also coming back to the top lane. So both teams are really acknowledging the fact that this is going to be mostly top-centric game, except we see fighting happening bot lane. Kai'Sa going in on the Vayne, going to be able to pick up that kill. A lot of damage coming out at this point from the Leona Kai'Sa. Blitzcrank is really a feast or famine champion. As we see Zed going onto the Xerath, going to get exhausted, throwing out some pretty good damage, but with that exhaust, it's not going to be nearly enough. Xerath, running at half health, is going to burn the flash with the Darius rotating down. We see Sejuani and Darius both looking for opportunities. Xerath going for the ultimate, trying to finish off the Zed, but he's not going to land enough shots. Vi looking really just to pretend to be menacing, but they got to get out of there just because of how low Xerath is. Sejuani's going to scare them back, so it's going to be able to pick up some CS. Xerath may look for a sniper opportunity, seem to hang around instead of backing. Probably just going to answer the shove. But that is actually still staying around. This seems a little bit greedy. Darius coming up, just probably going to pick up the CS. Neither of them can really trade too effectively while the other's under tower. That's going to be getting his back. Let's look at the CS real quick. Bot lane slightly favored. And even in kills, in fact. Mid lane, we see Xerath definitely ahead. Zed forced to itemize, relatively heavy into magic resist, going to have a hard time. And Hecarim top lane, put this man on an aggressive carry. Don't put him on Kayle. Don't wait for level 16 for him to be able to do things. Give him something that can fight. And he's really taken that slight advantage that he built up with the Ignite over Darius and is managing to snowball it. Darius can still do some good damage, can still be intimidating, but at this point, Hecarim's really dominating top lane. Is probably going to be able to pick up at least one plate. May or may not be able to pick up the tower, depending on how long he wants to stay. Bot lane, we see a fight going. Sejuani is looking to go down to Leona. Leona flashes away, ults to try and keep herself alive, but the Sejuani ult's going to lock her in place, and a Blitzcrank pull is probably going to seal her fate. Giving that kill over to the Vayne is quite good. You know that she can't get out with the flash gone. And Vayne is the lever by which red team can force their will onto the blue team. See if they can carry through bot lane. Clearly top lane isn't going well. Probably not going to be able to snowball that back in the other direction, given the 5 kills on Hecarim, which is resulting in a 2,000 gold lead. We see Vi coming in, looking to help keep the turret a little bit healthier, but it's not a minion wave, so it's not really necessary. Red team looking to aggress on her a little bit, but it doesn't hit what they need to hit. Blitzcrank's pretty low, so probably just going to shove this wave and then back off, I'd imagine. Xerath just entered Fog of War. They don't know where he is, if he's roaming down. We see the question mark pings coming out. And red team's going to back. So bot lane, we're looking at Vayne is basically even with Kai'Sa. So definitely blue favored so far, but we'll have to see. As we know from watching past games, you never really know what's going to happen. It tends to be pretty back and forth. A lot of questionable plays, but that's the fun of it. Mid lane, really all the lanes for blue side are going relatively well. Bot is pretty much even at this point. In terms of gold, definitely. And top is winning, and mid is slightly ahead and having forced defensive itemization out of the Zed. Arguably more so. Vi looking to pick up something onto the Zed, but he's going to be pretty mobile. Sejuani is going to be here. Blitzcrank is actually top lane, looking to potentially get a gank off into Hecarim, but the downside is that Vayne is now left here alone. Darius getting some trades. Hecarim's going to want to trade. He's going to want to fight, but he doesn't have flash. Remember, this is TP Ignite. That's a lot of CC, and that's a dead Hecarim. Very easy kill. Doesn't have time to ult. Vayne actually picking up the Kai'Sa in the 1v2, looking to go on Leona, is probably going to just get barely picked up. One more auto attack would have done it. Very nice, bold play. Almost was devastating for blue team, but still good. And given that 1v2 also allowed top lane to make plays, Sejuani going in on the Vi as part of that is going to get poked out a little bit by Xerath, but her passive is doing work, making her super tanky. Zed's coming up. Oh my god, Sejuani does a huge amount of damage, ulting Vi, almost going to be able to kill her. Looking to finish her off with a W, which she does. Xerath now has to run for his life, doesn't quite have flash up, but he's far enough away that it looks like he's going to make it out. Hecarim TP's in. You can't cancel that anymore. could look to ult out, but he's ulting to go back in. He's doing a lot of damage, but they have a lot of CC, a lot of damage. Are going to be able to pick up the kill onto the Hecarim, but it's a double kill for the Xerath. Zed could look to go onto the Xerath, but that'd be a little bit of a bad idea because bot lane is coming up. Seeing that this fight is going on, Vayne is going to farm bot lane. Zed looks like he'll be able to make it out. It's going to be hard for Xerath to pick up this kill unless Zed chooses not to run to the tower. Your fancy feet don't help you if you don't go to safety with them, and that's going to be a kill for the Kai'Sa, helping her continue. Is picking up the Storm Wraither with the fleet footwork. I talked with him earlier about that. He is adapting, learning Kai'Sa builds. I'm not 100% if you still build it first, but I believe you can. Darius TPing top, looking to defend the tower, is going to go down. He is taking a lot of damage. Probably is going to die. Looking to aggress onto Kai'Sa, is going to get the ult out of Kai'Sa. I don't know if that was necessary, but it secures the Darius kill and doesn't risk Sejuani or Blitzcrank be able to finish that off. We also, I believe, Vayne just got ganked by the Vi Leona, shutting down that farming. See Hecarim looking to make plays mid. That's another tower. That's very good. Sejuani does do a lot of damage. If Hecarim stays to fight and Zed can make it there, it doesn't quite have ultimate, but they do have a lot of CC. That's a Sejuani ult. Securing that, that's a easy kill. Does get the tower for it, so pretty reasonable trade, but not exactly what you'd like to see. Blue team, I believe, also picking up bot tower there. No, not. Yeah. Anyways, we see the Leona and Vi still sort of roaming together. They have a lot of CC, a lot of burst potential. Vayne's returning to bot lane. Blitzcrank setting up some wards that she can farm safely, which is good. Darius, despite the fact that he's been behind, has been trying to make plays. Not all of them have been good, but he's still trying to be relevant. One of the concerns we've often seen with Wyatt's top laner is that he's good at getting kills, but he's less good at avoiding death. And so what that could mean is that he is getting kills, resetting his gold value, and then channeling that into the enemy. We see Vi looking to steal a dragon. It's not going to be able to do that. Red team able to pick that up. Blitzcrank playing super aggressive. Zed's coming in, does very little damage. Is going to potentially get picked up by the Vi. Kai'Sa is looking to turn back onto Vi. Not going to be able to do that. Turns around with the ultimate. Look at the moves. Kai'Sa, now kind of out of position, does a lot of damage, is able to kill the Vayne, but is going to get picked up by the Darius. We see Hecarim coming in, looking to make a play opportunity. Did he see to get closer? Is about to have it up. Could look to aggress onto them. They don't have perfect vision. Is going to probably look onto the Zed. Sejuani looking to defend. Does go and pick up the Zed. They could potentially look to get the turnaround kill. Darius does a fair amount of damage, but so does Hecarim, almost killing the Sejuani. Is she going to burn down? Barely managed to make it out, and Darius is massive. Going to pick up the kill on Xerath with the bleed. Normally you'd expect the kill from downtown coming out of the Xerath, but Darius managing to walk away from Xerath as he bleeds to death, and it's a really back and forth trade. I believe a red team seems to have come out ever so slightly ahead, but we're definitely behind beforehand, and nobody got the dragon, so that's still to play for. Rift Herald is still an objective. And blue side does have a 4k gold lead, so still in a good position. I think given the strength, especially of the Kai'Sa, you really want to set up fights. What are you doing, Vi? Playing quite aggressive. We'll see if Sejuani can steal this with the smite, if Vi's even going to go for it. Doesn't know that Sej is there. Very easy steal. Sejuani actually looking to go in on the Vi. Kai'Sa's going to be there. She's going to have to turn around. Does have the flash. Is very tanky, but not that tanky. Vi going to completely whiff the Q. Not expending the Leona ultimate to help secure that. Sejuani is going to be able to get out of there. Does not have the smite up quite yet, so this should be an easy dragon. Sejuani is looking to contest it, but none of the rest of her team is. They're all sort of hanging around mid and by the Rift Herald. We'll see if this position mid lets them set up a siege, but given that they don't really have a siege comp, it seems unlikely. Is going to get a good hook onto Vi. Blitzcrank hooked the Vi. What are you doing? waiting for a stylish downtown hook. Vayne's doing a lot of damage. Sejuani is zoning. Xerath is going to try and pick up some damage in the backline with the ultimate, but it's going to miss most of his shots. Does pick up a little bit of poke onto Sejuani. Red team is pretty low, but they did win that fight. We'll see if they stick around. They could potentially look to get something if a blitz hook lands, which it does onto the Xerath. That should be a dead Xerath. Sejuani's going to trade her life for it. Leona's going to go in. They're all pretty low. There's an exhaust onto the Zeds. That's going onto the Kai'Sa. Probably not going to be able to pick that up. Kai'Sa picks up the double kill. Hecarim goes back in. Vayne's getting hit by the tower. Going to have to flash out there. Hecarim's pretty low, but he's going for the Darius. We see Kai'Sa going in, going to kill the Darius, and now she's going onto the Vayne, and that's going to be another kill for her, picking up a triple kill. Super huge fight for Wyatt. Hecarim still looking to dive the Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank does have flash. Could look to hook the Hecarim under the tower, but that'd almost certainly secure his own death. Really, he just needs to back. He's not going to be able to defend this by himself. Kai'Sa could kill him quite easily. Hecarim is also very likely going to kill him quite easily, diving the tower. He's going to try and keep himself alive with the punch. Does get the fist. Is going to get a trade kill that's actually pretty worthwhile for the Blitzcrank. Kai'Sa's still pushing. Sejuani is back up. Not going to be able to aggress onto the Kai'Sa with the Leona supporting her. And it looks like we're going to reset. So, very good fight for blue team. Do pick up a lot of kills onto Kai'Sa, especially, which is very good. Hecarim's still doing a little bit of the trading kills back and forth thing, but when going onto the Blitzcrank isn't... it's not ideal. You'd rather not be dead, but Blitzcrank isn't going to use that gold to do too much, most likely. So, overall, pretty good for blue. We see blue team pushing out the mid lane. It's good to have priority there. Baron is an objective. We'll see if the teams start to play around it. Neither team really has any vision. Sejuani, what a man, just going in on the Vi. No real vision. The team's coming to back her up. We'll see if Sejuani is able to pick up this kill. Vi actually moving the Sejuani out of the damage from the Xerath is going to land an ultimate onto the Vi. That's going to be a free kill. Darius and Blitzcrank coming in to assist with that. Hecarim's bot lane does have the teleport, looking to continue aggressing. Is going to miss the second bar of that W, so probably not going to be able to get a kill on the Xerath. Blitzcrank is still looking. Wyatt goes into the entire team. Is just going to get murdered. You can't 1v4 at this point. Leona ult did come out at some point, but didn't seem to be to facilitate that. Or if it did, it was more of a bait. We see Darius going to answer the Hecarim. Hecarim almost certainly can't dive the Darius, though he can probably still win in the fight. Otherwise, Vayne's starting to go onto the Baron. Vi is up. She does have smite. She's on the way, but with the... blue team actually has a double mountain. This is going a little bit slow considering that. Vayne obviously does a fair amount of damage. If we look at her items, does have the Rage Blade. They're looking to turn off of the Baron. They know they're a little low. Really nice Sejuani Q to go in on the Vi. Vi is kind of just going to kill herself. Xerath did get them very low, but is not able to pick up the kills. Darius is probably going to die as Hecarim goes in on him. That's an easy pickup from them. So good job by the blue team stopping them from the Baron. I think they potentially could have done it if they had stuck to it, but they would have gotten a little bit lower. Xerath ult might have finished them off, and Vi could have stolen it. So I do like backing off. Vayne looking to maybe make some plays onto Leona with the Bork, but you can't just keep running. Definite case of Vayne spotting there, ignoring the Kai'Sa and Xerath, which is a lot of damage to try and ignore as a Vayne. We see Hecarim looking to push out a little bit, but a lot of CC, actually a surprising amount of damage. It's really hard to get away from Sejuani. Blitzcrank, he is surviving for a long time. Xerath is here, and with the ultimate, he might be able to get out of there. Kai'Sa's coming in, doing a ton of damage. Xerath is going to be able to pick that up. Leona's looking to zone the Blitzcrank, but not going to be able to get onto him. We'll see if they continue to push. The jungler is dead, so they could be looking for Baron, but with only the one sweeper and only one person having pink wards, it's going to be kind of hard to secure the vision around the Baron, are instead looking to set up for the Cloud Drake. Just because Dragon is easier to take, it does not mean you have to take it. And a Baron is better than a Cloud Drake. And if you're at the Cloud Drake, you're not at the Baron, which means the enemy team could be at the Baron. So this is a little questionable, having 4 members of your team setting up for the Dragon. When Baron is an objective, red team, not going to punish it, not going to rush there. So it's going to be fine. but still questionable. We see Hecarim playing quite aggressive. You can tell he's looking for an opportunity, but he's not going to find it with Zed and Vayne also sitting up there, so he's going to do the smart thing and back off. Let his team push mid. Kai'Sa really just burning down the towers. Leona might be overextended. That should be a potential kill onto Leona. Is going to flash out and waste the ultimate also to try and force them back, make sure she stays alive. Hecarim now then gets to move up, start splitting. Nothing's really happening. Does get some good damage on tower. Was very close to being able to finish that off. Leona did obviously burn flash, but Kai'Sa didn't have to, and that's the important thing, because if red team gets on Kai'Sa, then they're in a very advantageous position. Hecarim is probably going to have a hard time one-shotting the Vayne. Vayne has a lot of mobility, able to push him back. Can really just melt the Hecarim. All he has is health for defense and the Ninja Tabby. True Silver bolts with Rage Blade, not really going to care about that. Sejuani looking to go in on Vi, constantly looking to push fights. Hecarim trying to turn back, but that passive just really allows her to take these questionable trades and not take too much damage for it. Vayne picking up some CS in the mid lane. Zed very far behind, only sitting on the Hex Drinker Duskblade of Drakthar, not really too much of a threat. My guess would be that if he just goes on the Kai'Sa just kills him before he gets to do too much. And with the Leona sitting there with Exhaust helping to keep the Kai'Sa alive, it's even harder. But at this point, he really just needs to be more of a distraction while Darius and Vayne bring the damage. And Sejuani as well, bringing the damage and CC, constantly looking to force small little trades. And blue team not pulling the trigger, not jumping on her, as she is quite tanky. Blitz looking for a hook, but his team isn't there, so even if he finds it, probably nothing would come from it except maybe his own death. Lot of posturing mid lane, not a lot of controlling Baron. So this is the thing. They're looking to force this tower shove, but they only have a Kai'Sa to attack the tower, and you have a Blitzcrank Sejuani. So this is potentially risky. You do have Xerath poke to help out a little bit, but now we can see as they overextend somewhat to pressure that, then red team could look for an opportunity to go in. Are going to pocket the Locket. Hecarim is going to be a run out there as the Blitzcrank hook obviously missed. Sejuani still looking, does have the ultimate, could look to make a play. Not going to quite force it. Does land the hook on Leona, but that's not really the target you want. She's pretty tanky. That's looking like a pretty good fight for the blue team. They just destroyed the Vayne, not able to do anything versus Hecarim Bias. They continue to go on Darius. Kai'Sa doing work in the backline. Going to ult over the Darius, pick herself up a double kill, and that should probably be the game. Kai'Sa is very strong at this point, 11-4, sitting on a huge amount of gold. Huge amount of damage, able to burn through that fight, and Vayne, really the last sort of hope of red team. Really nothing you can do versus the Hecarim and the Vi. Zed's going to try and pick up a kill onto the Vi. Is going to be able to get it, but that's not a target that really matters. Can't even get close to considering killing the Kai'Sa as she burns down the tower. Pads her stats with some minion damage. Is going to pick up the Nexus relatively easily. I would imagine at some point Blitz could potentially look to hook Hecarim into the Fountain or the Kai'Sa. Not going to get that even. It's a surrender and a relatively easy game from blue team. A little bit sloppy, obviously, 31-22. But overall, I'd say Hecarim, especially, much better pick. Allowed them to play aggressively top side. King of Shames, in contrast to last game, where he sort of had no pressure anywhere because he was Ornn. This time having a very clear presence top lane, helping to snowball that while also having some good counter ganks bot lane. And overall, much better game from blue team and a good well-deserved victory.